Good morning and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View. Yep, last night it was a hard-fought game in Aberdeen and we've got lots to talk about today. But first of all, we need to listen to Chris Boyd, who he went and said it. And are you ready for this?
Absolutely, it's been a big night, hasn't it? All three at the top in action.
Be afraid, Rangers are back.
My goodness. Oh my goodness. Surely we'll find out on Sunday.
Dear God, he actually went and said it. The Rangers are coming. The Rangers are back. Oh my goodness. 11-point gap. Oh, never mind.
Roll up to the party, roll up to the party, roll up to the party, roll up.
Good morning and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View this morning. Yeah, that was Chris Boyd. Joking, obviously. There is an 11-point gap in the Premier League table. When we look at the Premier League table this morning, Celtic are top with 40 points. We had at the 40-point mark already. Well, it's the exact same points as what the Invincibles were at this time of the year. And it was also a game up in Aberdeen during the Invincible season that Celtic managed to slog and win that day also. I did say in the run-up to this game that it was going to be an important one. And history shows us that an away game to Aberdeen, a hard-fought win, and it's never an easy win in Aberdeen. People that thought it was going to be easy, I don't know where you were getting your predictions from, and I didn't think that Aberdeen ultimately, who are sitting in second position, would play as defensive as what they did. Rangers closed the gap to Aberdeen they closed the gap. That's all you need to say about that. Dundee United, they have fallen a little bit away from the Rangers, and then Dundee are closing in on Dundee United. It doesn't matter. The good news is Hearts are still rooted to the bottom of the table. Hopefully Kilmarnock will be overtaken by Aberdeen in the next couple of months, so that Aberdeen and Kilmarnock both go down. Because I think everyone in Scottish football, if you're a Celtic orientated, you'll be glad of Hearts and Kilmarnock maybe getting relegated. It would be a little bit of karma for everything that they've said about Celtic, and especially yesterday. Yes, even yesterday, the Hearts CEO called, poor little Celtic with their little small allocation at our ground, when they still give the Hibernian the full stand because they want to keep the integrity of the derby. Never mind the integrity of Scottish football and how it looks as a TV audience, but who cares about them? We need to talk about the win last night. That goal from Rio Hatate, you've got to say the ball through from Greg Taylor was absolutely fantastic. It was a great ball for Greg Taylor, and Rio Hatate brings it down on his chest, doesn't even have to take one touch, and he just puts it beyond the keeper, which sent the Celtic fans into a frenzy. And then it sent the Aberdeen fans into, you only sing when you're winning. The Aberdeen fans who never sang all night. The Aberdeen fans whose ultras stood silent when Aberdeen defended for their lives for 70 minutes. Yes, Aberdeen decided to play a different type of game last night. It was a bit more rough and tumble than the game at Hampden. They weren't giving Celtic any space. They were being very, very defensive until about the 70th minute mark, when they decided to start playing football. And it was at that point you could see the gaps starting to open up in the Aberdeen team. They weren't as solid a defensive unit, and you could see Celtic starting to break into spaces. I did go onto Twitter at that point and say there's a Celtic goal coming, and thank you to the person that said you were right. You could just see it. When you watch enough football, you can see the gaps opening up, and fair play to the fans that went up there. Fair play to the fans. But before we go into any more, there's a lot to talk about today. We are going to be speaking about 7 million windfall that is about to come Celtic way. We're also going to talk about that money that is owed because of Neil Lennon, and then the Rodgers interview. I'm going to listen to the Rodgers interview, but before then, I need to thank every single one of you who has donated to the Boxing Day special. The One Celtic Fans View is doing a fundraiser for the Celtic Foundation on Boxing Day. I will be doing a Boxing Day live event, and the Boxing Day live will go on as long as it takes. For every £1,000 donated, that's right, every £1,000 donated will equate to 1 hour on YouTube. Now, as it stands just now, the first target was £1,000 to get us set off. We are 72% into that target. Yes, we have £726 already donated by fantastic Celtic supporters. and it is for a fantastic cause. The Celtic Foundation is the charitable arm of Celtic. I will be raising as much money as we can before, and hopefully a lot of money on the day. It's a personal challenge, and it's a testament to our commitment as the charitable principles of Celtic FC and the heritage of Celtic Football Club. The Celtic Foundation is a Scottish registered charity, and all the money will be donated to them via the Just Giving page. It goes to disadvantaged children, young people, adults in our local communities by promoting health and equality, learning, tackling poverty, and they strive to make a meaningful impact. And join me in my truly special endeavour. So the more £1,000 that we get, the longer I will be on Christmas Day. If we get £3,000, I'll be on for 3 hours. If we get £4,000, I'll be on for 4 hours. If we get 5,000, we're on for 5 hours, etc., etc. Catty was the latest person to donate to the cause, and she donated £67. Fantastic amount. I'm loving the people that are donating 1967 and 1888 and things like that. It's brilliant. But then you've got the likes of Kate Sloan, who used to own the Hoops Bar here in Spain in Guardamar del Segura. She donated £50. And then there is also, when you go up to Ian Aberdeen, yes, an Aberdeen fan, has donated £100, believe it or not. Yep, an Aberdeen fan has donated £100 to the cause. So please give on the run-up to that. It is for a fantastic cause, and I'm sure it'll be a fun old day on the day. It'll not just be talking about Celtic. I think we'll just, if it goes on for 4 hours, and we're just going to have to fill it talking about all sorts. But I think I'll need to do a lot of homework, and we might look back on some Celtic bygone games. Yes, we'll look back on. I've got some footage of old games that will be. It should be well worth watching on the day anyway, and we will also be doing an alternative King's speech, so keep an eye out for that. That is getting recorded shortly. We'll be doing an alternative King's speech for 3 p.m. Christmas Day, so if you don't want to watch that, you could just stick on YouTube and watch One Celtic Fans View alternative King's speech, and there is only one king, and that is the King of Kings. Anyway, let's get back to that game last night. It was a hard-fought game, and fair play to the fans that go up to Aberdeen, because you're in. It's when you go to Aberdeen away, it's like going back to the 1970s, and I mean that. And on all counts, the toilet facilities are absolutely. Well, you can't say it's toilet facilities. They're absolutely terrible. They're from a bygone era. They're not as bad as Dundee United away. Anybody that goes to Dundee United away at that end will know that you just go into a brick shed, and it is what it is. I mean, it's still to this day and age, it's unbelievable. But the Aberdeen end, thankfully, Brendan Rodgers didn't have to go over to the away end support. Yes, he managed to go into the concourse for his interview yesterday for Celtic TV, and he was in that concourse. And you've got to say, if the away end was like that, it wouldn't be such a bad trip up to Aberdeen, but it's not. Who cares, really? It is what it is. But let's listen to Brendan Rodgers from last night talking about the game and see what he had to say.
To get some cover, it was a tough night with the wind and rain playing such a significant role. How impressed were you, by the way, your team managed to adapt to those challenging conditions and come away with the win tonight here in Aberdeen?
Yeah, well, it was a brilliant victory for us. As you say, it's arguably the most difficult conditions you can have: driving rain, wind. It was really, really difficult, and I think both teams tried to give their best, and I'm really proud of my team, because we tried to play our football. Probably in the first half we got through, just didn't quite in the final third. It was just a little moment that we needed to make the final pass. Got caught just a couple of times in our counter-attack. We needed to counter-press the game better. As soon as we lost it, they were looking to play forward and play into the space. So we had a couple of little moments in that. So we addressed that, spoke at half-time, and then just needed to clean the game up a little bit and pass a little bit quicker, but knowing that we have to keep working Aberdeen and take the game into that last 30 minutes. So and then we end up getting a brilliant goal, great team move, wonderful pass by Greg Taylor, and Rail finishes it so well. So and then in the moments towards the end when we had to defend, two centre halves and goalkeeper were so strong, and collectively it was a great win for us.
I think it would have been a better game. I do think it would have been a better game in all if Aberdeen had decided to play football the whole 90 minutes rather than getting to the 70-minute mark. I mean, they were obviously trying to contain Celtic as much as they won, and it was obviously a game plan that they had decided to play. It was a change of tactics from the all-out attacking Aberdeen that we've seen since the beginning of the season. It was a case of trying be more defensive, be tight, let's not give them anything, let's not let them run riot, let's not give them the space to do anything, and we'll try and hit them on the break. Although they never managed that, they managed to camp in on their own box for the best part of 70 minutes. And you got to say, I mean, Celtic, there wasn't a lot of space to try and break them down. Even Chris Sutton said that during the game. I mean, Celtic are up there and they're just on the outskirts of the box, but there was no space, there was no gaps at all. Fair play to Aberdeen, if that's the way that they wanted to play the game, fair enough. They do what every other team in Scotland do, really, don't they? I mean, you should just, I have said this before, you should just cut the game down to 20 minutes and be gone with 70 minutes of the game, and then teams they'll have to have a go. But Celtic did manage to get the win in the end, and it was a fantastic win at that. Let's finish listening to Brendan Rodgers, though.
Rio Hatate, you just spoke about him there, he steps up with that real moment of quality to break the deadlock late in the game as well. How crucial is he to this team, and how you manage to keep ticking along and sticking to that system, Brendan?
Yeah, well, he is important, but the team's the most important in the squad. So I think everyone was making the contribution, you know, the guys that started, then the guys that come into the game, Adamida holding it up for us, Luke coming in and gives us that energy, and he's pressing, and we'll always have the goal threat.
Luke was brilliant when he came on.
We got into some really, really good moments, and they had some good defending. Young Ross had a brilliant save from Adam's header.
Yeah. What about that save? I mean, I thought that was on its way in. I mean, I was up off the sofa and I thought it was on its way in. The weekend I will be going to the pub to watch the game. But that was a save and a half.
But we just had to keep persistent with it and keep looking to arrive in the areas, and then the goal, like you say, when you watch it back, you see the move and how it works, and it's a really, really nice goal.
Aberdeen, they were pushing really hard as well, particularly in the closing stages. Cameron Carter-Vickers, he stood strong with a crucial block from Esther Sockler. How pleased were you in these conditions, Brendan? You spoke about how sticking to the game plan, but the defensive resolve as well in those conditions.
It was the way that Cameron Carter-Vickers and Trusty high-fived each other when Cameron Carter-Vickers, the two of them were on the grass, and the two of them high-fived each other as soon as Cameron Carter's made that last-minute tackle. I mean, Trusty does kind of slip, he loses his footing, which allows the Aberdeen player to come in, but his mate had his back, and that's what Celtic are all about. That's what this team's all about. Your mates have your back.
Yeah, but what you have to, you know, you're going to come under pressure no matter how much dominance you have in the game, and especially when the game's 1-0 in the closing stages. You know that the ball's going to go a little bit more direct. They're going to get into the areas of the pitch to threaten your box. But when it did come in, our centre halves and goalkeeper dealt well with it. I thought Casper's hands were so clean in the moments. The two centre halves, like I said, were getting contact, were being strong. So it was, you can't play amazing football. There's sometimes you have to dig deep and have a really strong mentality. And this team showed tonight in these weather conditions that they can grind out a win and keep a clean sheet.
And the win now extends us to the top of the table by 7 points. It's a pivotal month, December. It always is. Brendan, how important was it to grind out that win at the start of this crucial month?
Yeah, very important, but such a long way to go still. So people look at it now, but we just got to, let's see where we're at. And with 10 games to go at this moment in time, it's our 14th game. There's still 24 games to go, so it's a long way to go. But I have to credit the players because they're showing a really strong mentality, a real ambition going into the games, and we're getting the results and performing.
You know that Brendan does like to look at games in blocks, and at the start of November we looked at the block of games that we had in November, and we got off to a fantastic start with that win at Hampden. It didn't go all our way during the month. There was one or two results. There was one result that we could have done a little bit better, but ultimately it was a fantastic month in November. Now that we've got into that December month and we do have one European game coming up that is it is entirely winnable, but it will be a hard game. It is a game that at the beginning of the Champions League that I did say that we could win, but there's plenty of time to talk about that because it's next week.
Just before you go, we've spoken about the players, the performance, but a real word for the fans that had to stand and watch the team and drive them on in that conditions tonight.
Yeah, I said to the players before the game, it's, our supporters have come all over Scotland and probably have flown in and drove in from everywhere. And they're stuck in a corner with no cover on them. So we have to owe it to them to give everything to get the points and send them away happy. And thankfully the players did that. It was a great team performance. The supporters will have pride in their team and hopefully they get all home safely.
Well, Brendan, congratulations on the 3 points.
Thank you. Thanks.
Do you know what I love about Brendan is he knows exactly the guys that have flown in from Ireland. I mean, he knows who they are, and that's all I'm saying because I know that they know him. And I seen them on my Facebook getting on the flight from Dublin and flying over yesterday, and fair play to them because big Packy Bonner, I'm not going to put the picture up because they'll keep their identity secret, but it was good to see that Packy Bonner was on the flight with them from Dublin yesterday, and fair play to you guys, you know who you are, and it was nice to see that you took care of Packy Bonner on the flight over. Anyway, with Brendan Rodgers talking about the fans and how good the game was, what it has done is it's made sure that Celtic are top of the table going into this very, very busy period. When you look at the club and the way it's been run just now, I think there's nothing that we could say. The club's and everything's going right, everything's fantastic. And that takes us on to the final part. Yes, the £7 million that Manchester City are about to hand Celtic. For a Neil Lennon decision many moons ago. Yes, Neil Lennon brought in a young player. And Jeremy Frimpong, it looks like he is set to be a Manchester City player in the next transfer window. Finally, he's going to move on, and that will give Celtic in the region of 7.3 million as Manchester City look to prize Jeremy Frimpong away from Bayer Leverkusen. And they're interested in the Celtic in their own. In fact, he came from Manchester City. So the irony of that he came from Manchester City, Celtic managed to get him for £300,000 back in the day. Yep, we got him for £300,000. He didn't make a single appearance for Pep Guardiola's senior squad, but he excelled at Celtic, and Celtic quickly sold him on for £11.75 million in 2021. The 23-year-old has since become one of the most in-demand stars in European football. His performances at right wing-back have been crucial to Leverkusen's unbeaten run in the Bundesliga last season. Xabi Alonso could face a major battle to hold onto the international, but the Daily Mail have come out and said that City have entered the race to sign their former player. The reports claims that Celtic are due a massive 30% sell-on of any profit Bayer Leverkusen make in a future transfer, an agreement that was struck during the Neil Lennon years. Frimpong has a £34 million clause in his contract, a release clause in his contract, £34 million release clause, which means Celtic would get 7.3 million. Add that onto the Champions League money that we've had this season, and you know what? The board are sitting like that. Add that on to any money from transfers that happen within the next the next month in the next transfer window. I still believe that there will be a few Celtic players that leave. People are asking, what have I got against Greg Taylor? Absolutely nothing, but it's a Celtic model. I think that if he doesn't sign the contract by the 1st of January, he will be sold. Celtic will not allow an asset to walk away for free. There's plenty of time to start talking about transfer speculation over the next couple of weeks, but I think the players that will be sold by Celtic ultimately will be Greg Taylor, Alexandro Bernabe for 8 million. If we get 3 million for Greg Taylor, the exact same as we got for Turnbull, we're going to cash on him. I think Lewis Palmer could be sold in the January window also. And there could be one or two others, but we'll wait and see. Anyway, on that note, glad you've watched this video to the end. Yes, you there. If you're still watching, thank you. Thank you for watching, and have an absolutely fantastic day, Celtic fans, wherever you are, all around the world.
lit. Roll up to the party, roll up to the party. Roll up to the party, roll up to